Ladies and gentlemen, there is a power within you, yes, you, that can shake mountains, silence critics, and turn impossibility into inevitability. But this power is not muscle, it is not wealth, it is not charm, it is the mind. And I tell you today, build a mind so strong, it terrifies people. Not with arrogance, not with cruelty, but with unshakable clarity, unwavering purpose, and the burning intensity of a definiteness of desire. Building a mind so strong it terrifies people begins with a single, unshakable decision to commit fully, not partially, not someday, but completely without the luxury of retreat. This kind of commitment is rare in a world that constantly offers distractions, excuses, and escape routes. Most people live with one foot on the gas and one on the brake, never moving forward with real force. But the mind that chooses a goal and burns the boats, leaving no option but to win, is the mind that becomes powerful beyond measure. When you eliminate the possibility of turning back, you create a mental environment where growth is not optional. It becomes inevitable. The fear of failure fades because success is no longer a maybe. It becomes the only outcome you're willing to accept. This creates intensity. It forges discipline. It transforms indecisive thoughts into unwavering belief. Total commitment rewires your brain. Every resource, time, energy, emotion is directed toward a single aim. This level of focus makes you dangerous in the best way. You become someone others can't easily discourage, distract, or defeat. People feel the energy of someone who knows what they want and has decided that nothing will stand in their way. Others may call it obsession. Let them. Because what they call obsession, you call clarity. And clarity breeds power. When you're all in, life responds. The people, tools, and opportunities begin to show up, not because you're lucky, but because your mind has entered a frequency where doubt and hesitation can't exist. This is where a terrifying mind is born, not in talent or education, but in a moment of absolute resolve. When you commit like your life depends on it, your mind adapts accordingly. And that's when the world begins to take notice. The strength of your mind is determined by what you allow to enter it. Thoughts are not harmless. They are the architects of your reality. Just as a fortress has gates that are carefully guarded, your mind must have boundaries. A weak mind is open to everything: fear, gossip, negativity, self-doubt, and it becomes a chaotic battlefield. But a strong, focused mind filters every thought, only allowing in what serves its purpose. Every day, the world throws distractions your way: opinions that don't matter, criticism that isn't constructive, and fear disguised as caution. If you don't consciously protect your mental space, these influences will take root and grow. They don't just occupy space, they shape your decisions, limit your potential, and derail your progress. To build a powerful, even intimidating mind, you must practice mental discipline. That means being brutally honest about what you consume: news, conversations, entertainment, and even the company you keep. Ask yourself constantly, does this align with who I'm becoming? If the answer is no, it doesn't belong in your mind. This is not about arrogance or shutting out the world. It's about becoming selective with your attention. Your focus is your most valuable currency, and strong minds spend it wisely. When you fill your thoughts with clarity, purpose, and belief, you generate a level of internal energy that others can sense. That kind of mental strength is intimidating, not because it's aggressive, but because it's unshakable. The disciplined mind begins to emit certainty. People don't question someone who radiates conviction. They follow, they listen, and sometimes they fear it, because it reflects everything they haven't mastered within themselves. The more you control what enters your mind, the more you control your destiny. That's how strength is built. One guarded thought at a time. Pain is not the enemy, it is the forge. Every setback, every failure, every betrayal is an opportunity in disguise. The strongest minds are not those that avoid pain, but those that transform it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the powerful mind asks, "What is this teaching me?" That question shifts everything. It turns the wound into wisdom, the struggle into strength. When life strikes, most people recoil. They let pain define them. But those with powerful minds understand that pain is a teacher. Brutal, yes, but necessary. It carves away weakness, it exposes the truth, and it demands growth. If you learn to sit with it, study it, and use it, pain becomes your greatest ally. It awakens parts of you that comfort could never reach. There is a hidden energy in suffering. When you channel it into your goals, your work, your vision, it gives you a level of drive that comfort never could. Pain sharpens your focus. It burns away distractions. It humbles you, but it also hardens your resolve. And over time, the very things that were meant to break you become the reason you cannot be broken. This mindset terrifies people. Why? Because most are ruled by fear. And when they see someone who has mastered pain, who doesn't flinch in the fire, they see something unfamiliar, something unstoppable. It reminds them that the difference is not in talent, but in tolerance. What you're willing to endure determines what you're able to build. So the next time pain visits, don't run. Invite it in. Let it teach you. Let it sculpt you. Because each time you rise from pain, you rise more focused, more dangerous, and more undeniable. A terrifying mind is forged not in peace, but in the pressure of adversity. Transformed by will, persistence is the invisible force behind every great mind. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, and it rarely gets praised in the moment. But it's the one trait that separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. A terrifying mind is not built on bursts of motivation. It's built through the quiet, relentless refusal to quit. It's the ability to keep going when the excitement fades, when the results are slow, and when no one is watching. Most people stop when it gets hard. They pause when results don't come quickly. They doubt themselves when they don't feel inspired. But the mind that truly becomes powerful has one message it repeats to every obstacle: I will not stop. That's what makes it intimidating, because you cannot reason with it. You cannot discourage it, and you certainly cannot outlast it. This kind of persistence is a habit, not a mood. It's something you train into your thinking day by day. You show up, whether you feel like it or not. You do the work, even if the progress is invisible. You endure the repetition because you trust the process. Over time, this creates a mental toughness that's nearly impossible to compete with. The world moves out of the way for people who keep moving forward, regardless of how they feel. And here's the truth. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented, but if you are consistent, you will eventually terrify those who relied on talent alone, because you will outlast them. You will rise not because of one grand moment, but because of hundreds of ordinary days when you refuse to give in. Persistence builds pressure, and pressure creates breakthroughs. That is the quiet, disciplined power of a terrifying mind. It simply will not stop. A mind that dares to rise above the average often begins its journey in solitude. When you choose a path of strength, focus, and relentless growth, you naturally separate from the crowd. This can feel isolating at first, even discouraging, but it is not a curse. It is a necessary phase of transformation. Most people cling to the familiar, to comfort, to approval. But the mind that seeks greatness must be willing to walk alone, to face silence, and to endure misunderstanding. Others may not see your vision. They may mock your discipline, question your intensity, or label your drive as arrogance. That is the cost of separating from mediocrity. But if you can endure being misunderstood, You begin to build something they cannot touch, a foundation of inner clarity and self-trust. You learn to validate yourself. You learn to move without applause. And this makes you dangerous in the best way, because your actions are no longer tied to external approval. Solitude becomes your sharpening stone. In the quiet, you can hear your own thoughts clearly. You discover who you are without noise, without distraction. That is where self-mastery begins. And in time, the very people who doubted you will watch as you rise, not because you conformed, but because you refused to. Eventually, the world notices the results. Those who once laughed become curious. Those who dismissed you begin to listen. And when you finally walk among giants, it's not because you were invited, it's because you earned it through your willingness to walk alone when no one believed in you. Strength is not built in the crowd, it's forged in solitude. The terrifying mind doesn't fear being alone, it embraces it, knowing that greatness demands the courage to stand apart before it earns the right to stand above. There is something undeniably powerful about a mind that knows exactly what it wants. It doesn't need to shout or seek attention. Its clarity and purpose speak louder than words ever could. When a person walks into a room with unwavering belief in themselves and their mission, people feel it. It disrupts the atmosphere. It commands attention without asking for it. That's what makes a strong mind so intimidating. Not aggression, but absolute certainty. Most people live in a fog of doubt, constantly questioning their direction, looking to others for permission or validation. But the terrifying mind operates differently. It doesn't beg for clarity, it creates it. It decides what matters, defines its own standards, and aligns every thought and action with a chosen purpose. This level of mental alignment is rare, and because it's rare, it's respected and often feared. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. Quiet confidence rooted in purpose is more disarming than any speech. It causes people to pause, to reassess, even to second-guess themselves. Why? Because in your clarity, they see their confusion. In your focus, they feel their own distraction. In your discipline, they recognize their excuses. This kind of mind becomes magnetic. Opportunities are drawn to it. People listen to it. Obstacles retreat before it. But none of this happens by accident. It comes from doing the hard internal work, deciding what you stand for, what you want, and who you are willing to become to achieve it. And once that decision is made, the mind no longer wavers. A terrifying mind doesn't need to prove itself. Its energy does the work. Its consistency makes the statement. Its results close the argument. This is how power is built, from the inside out, through clarity, discipline, and the quiet intensity of a purpose-driven life.